Hello guys, sorry I look a bit rough and ready today. Not that I ever really dress up for you guys anyway, but yeah. So today, it's not going to be pretty, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be talking very frankly with you about the realities of living with IBS and any sort of illness that leads you to having unpredictable or violent bowels. I did an article actually on the Huffington Post about this. It was probably, when was it? Might have been last year, or it might have been the year before. Probably scarily, it was probably, God, it was 2013. I did an article on the Huffington Post where I kind of opened the door onto my life of having extreme IBS. I'm actually in a position now where I wouldn't say cured because I do have the odd disaster, but on the whole it is so much better day to day. It's not something that consumes me or takes over my life in the way it used to, but because I had a bit of a bout this weekend, we went out for a nice meal for my dad's 70th, and after that I had quite a toxic and explosive belly afterwards, so it kind of reminded me of what it was like when it was really bad. So I thought I'd still talk about it because I know so many people deal with this, and yet it's still not taken seriously. It's one of those illnesses, because it's so common, because it's not actually life-threatening, it's kind of not taken seriously by society, by the public, but also by doctors. I found over the years it was very much on these things that you're told, yeah, it's just IBS, or yeah, IBS, just got to deal with it, or yeah, you just got to find ways to deal with it or work around it, or you know, they didn't really seem to take it seriously, even though when it was at its worst for me, it was pretty much controlling my day-to-day life, because I would stop going out if I thought I was having a particularly bad day with it, because I thought, who wants to go out with the risk that they might poo themselves? Might do a big old bar in, like, during an interview, on camera, on a date or whatever. And then sometimes it was just really uncomfortable as well, or you literally didn't get off the toilet, so there's no way you were going to do anything. But rather than talk about the cures and things today, I want to talk about how it affected love life and socialising. That's what I'm going to concentrate today. Obviously, a new relationship, you want to keep an air of mystery for a little bit, if possible. You want to kind of maintain some allure, try and be feminine and maybe a little bit sexy, who knows. And when you're feeling, if you're feeling a bit bloated and a bit crampy and you've got a bit of a paunch hanging out, you don't feel your ultimate best, your ultimate hot self. So that already affects your confidence, but then you're also constantly worrying about, is there going to be a toilet wherever we're going on this date? Am I going to need the loo if we go out for dinner? That sort of thing. And in halls, as you know, they're very small, very compact, and the bathrooms are pretty much in the bedroom and in the lounge area, in the office area. It's all like one space. So if you're in the guys' halls and suddenly you get an IBS attack and you can't get to your halls, or perhaps you don't feel like you can excuse yourself without it being too obvious, you might run into theirs and they're going to hear it. And if you're like me, it is like a war zone. It is explosive, it is violent, and yeah, they're going to know what's going on, which is a bit of a vibe killer, let's be honest. What I did was I found out what music was really good at hiding the noises. You want something that is consistent noise, consistently thick layers of music. You don't want something that has like and then goes like instrumental bit, or like slow bit, or something like that. So a song like Outkast's Bombs Over Baghdad I found was a great one to put on if I knew that, you know, I was getting some rumblings and I knew I might need the loo soon. Put that on loud and he wasn't going to hear anything. So that was one thing that I used to do, but then got to the point where he kind of thought, that song's on again, and she's gone to the loo. Clearly there's a pattern emerging here, something's going on. And soon enough, I think, because of my behaviour and the amount of times I would be running off to the loo or whatever at a restaurant or wherever we were, I just kind of fessed up, and from that point onwards I was very honest about what's going on. Probably too honest to the point it was like, alright, enough information, TMI, all that sort of stuff. Although we didn't say TMI back then. This was in the dark ages, so we actually said full words. When you're in a kind of long, comfortable relationship, it's a bit easier because you get to a state where, you know, you both have your quirks, you both have your issues, and you're both aware of them, so you can kind of relax and be open about it and not be too conscious, because you kind of feel they're not going to go anywhere, even though they know that that's a bit rank or that I do that and that's a bit gross or whatever. They just kind of, it comes in the package and that's fine, and they still love you. But dating is a whole nother thing. I went on this one date, it was at a local pub, and I knew that they did this incredible chocolate fondant. It's something that was kind of irresistible to me, but I knew that was kind of a dangerous option for me. I knew that, you know, if I went for it 50-50, probably actually 20-80, 80 being the fact I would definitely have an issue, that would be embarrassing. So I did it because he was paying for the food and it's free chocolate, so I had the chocolate fondant, and of course I felt, you know, when you feel it dropping in your tummy, like those lifts at those rides at theme parks that just go, you feel it dropping down all the time. You're like, you try and hold it, but you can feel the bumhole like contract like that. And you're like, okay, something's going to happen very soon. So I went to the loo. Unfortunately, I ended up being in there for probably a good 20 minutes at least, which is obviously a bit disconcerting for your date. They think maybe you've done a runner, or in my case he guessed that I had the absolute squits, full on diarrhea. So what I've learned from that experience is, if you have to go to loo and you know that it's probably going to be doom, bring your phone with you so you can just keep the date up to date and say, everything's alright, but I'm going to be a little while. Unfortunately, in that time, you know that they're going to formulate all these images in their head about what's going on, and they're not going to be pleasant, sexy images. So expect that when you go back, the vibe will have changed, the mood will have changed. Perhaps he'll want to wrap the evening up quite quickly and send you home. But the fact of the matter is, if the guy likes you, if you've got chemistry, if you've got something going already, that won't put him off. At the time you think, oh god, it's the worst thing ever, like nightmare, but if they like you, they stick around and you'll have a laugh about it. Like once you're together and it's all proper, you can laugh about that funny date you had, and every time you see a chocolate fondant you might have a little couple joke about it. Do I look like a bit of an Instagram Wally with this, you know, one of those poses? Uh-oh. I'm just doing it because drinking water is good, and if it's more fun, I'm more inclined to do it. Anyway, so back to the IBS stuff. Problem with me is, if the guy I'm with wants to get a bit fruity, you know, he's in the mood, and you obviously want to, you know, deliver and make him happy and make yourself happy as well. I have to make sure that I've emptied in there before doing so, because I don't know, the movement and the process somehow aggravates my belly a bit more when I'm in a bad IBS stage. And you telling the person when they're putting on the moves that you've got to go and do a poo first, it doesn't really enhance the sexy atmosphere. Not only interrupts their flow, but also, you know, gives them the images again. And when you come back from the loo and you're all ready to go, they know that you've just done a big stinking poo, so that's not ideal. And I like to try and tell them that, you know, Angelina Jolie, she does big stinkers. Natalie Portman, she's known for doing massive cowpats. I'd say that so they just know that I'm still human, I'm like any other female. But perhaps it's just more obvious. I don't know if you've attempted to hold in a fart while someone's thrusting, it is extremely difficult. And you're trying not to show it on your face, the fact that you're clenching so hard to make sure nothing escapes. It's very hard to multitask in that situation. Look like, you know, oh, I'm loving it, and carry on doing your part, but also hold in and clench those butt cheeks and keep everything in. Oh God, it's so stressful. Then there's the aftermath that you've left in the toilet for when they need to go and sort themselves out after your romantic session, and they go in and they just realise the toxicity of your innards, the fragrance, the aroma. Those are nice words for what is essentially, I don't know, sewage works in your own house. It is horrendous. At a point in time, I remember when it really felt like that my parents were a bit sceptical about my IBS, because my reactions were so fast after eating. They were always like, how can a body react that fast? That sort of thing. So, because I'd rush off to the loo a few minutes after finishing my last mouthful of dinner, and it would just, all my stomach would empty pretty much straight away. And you worry that people are actually thinking that maybe you've got an eating disorder, maybe she's doing something else in the toilet, maybe she's choosing to empty herself, which was never the case for me. So I got to the point where I would start taking pictures of what happened, the carnage, the bomb site in the toilet, what I would call the Jackson Pollock artwork that I'd create after emptying my bowels. And it got to the point where, yeah, I had this whole gallery. Proof which was also useful to show the doctors whenever I go back to just tell them what was going on. But I got to the point where I was showing, do you want to see this one? Oh, this one's really good. And people don't want to see that. But it did put to rest their worries that something else was going on. But yeah, I wouldn't advise showing your number 2 evidence to pals and potential partners. It doesn't actually go down that well, unless you've got that gross pal that loves, you know, freaky things and gross things. Like I'm someone that likes those videos where people squeeze spots, and I've got another friend that loves all that stuff as well, but some of my other friends think we're right sickos for liking that stuff. So it's about knowing your audience. One of the first times I met my brother's girlfriend, we went to a restaurant in town, and it was kind of a tapas vibe, and we had all sorts of different things, all different spices, all different sort of, just lots of different kinds of foods, foreign foods, and it went down well, it tasted lovely. And then on the way back to Waterloo, there was that uh-oh moment, the dropping started to happen, you know, where you could feel it fall in your stomach, and I was like, I'm not going to make it to the station. And without going into too much detail, I ran into Festival Hall on the South Bank, try and find the loo. There was a huge queue, and then I couldn't find an alternative loo. Basically, I didn't quite make it. So that's another scary thing about IBS. Yeah, there is always an air of danger. I know some people like to live on the edge, but that is not the sort of edge I enjoy living on, and that's not really the first impression you want to leave with the new person that comes into your life. So yeah, that's just some of the scary things about having IBS or serious bowel issues. It's stressful, and travelling is stressful, everything's stressful, but I'm going to keep this one more to socialising and relationships. I'm talking about this because I want more people that have IBS to realise that you're not alone. There's quite a few of us that have to deal with that fear, the pain, the inconvenience, and I understand that you'll probably have been fobbed off by a million doctors as well, and found it hard to find a solution. If you want me to do any more videos on this, perhaps maybe one about IBS and how it affects your work, or IBS and how it affects my day-to-day, perhaps things I found that help my IBS. I just wanted to start off by talking about some of the embarrassing things I've gone through because of it, to try and ease us into this kind of grim topic. If you've had any stories as well and you're open to showing them on a public forum like the interweb, leave them in the comments below. yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any issues today, feeling all right. But that's the thing, you just never know, it can come on like that. So keep your fingers crossed for me. I haven't got white jeans on. I'm not leaving the house today, so all should be good. Thanks for watching. Hope you don't all think I'm really grossed out.